What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome back to Deep Pockets here on YouTube. I am your host, Deep Pockets, and I've got my co-host and other anchor here, Mr. Hampton. Mr. Hampton, welcome back to YouTube. I know we took a couple days off, but we're going to break down some picks for today, go over some of the card, and just kind of share our leans, favorite picks. Nothing is super official yet. We may have some official plays right now, but for the most part, we're just wanting to narrow into the games that we like the most for today. Mr. Hampton, I know we weren't here the last 2 days. Any takeaways from the last 2 days of baseball that you wanted to share?
I'm just going to say, and kind of why I've kind of taken a little easier time over the last few days, that this week wasn't the best baseball week, right? There's just not a lot of like fancy or really exciting matchups. And really what I've noticed too is you're starting to see some of these average, those teams that were doing all right, kind of middle of the pack, they're starting to look terrible now. And so, one of the biggest epidemics in baseball right now is getting your bases loaded, maybe with one out, and you can't bring in a damn run. So just right now, you're starting to see some crappy baseball is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, that can be really frustrating. Seeing teams have terrible approach at the plate, with runners in scoring position. That's why, and I always hear people say RBIs are overrated. No, they're not. They're not overrated because that shows you the more RBIs you can get and you drive runs in, that's important. That's still important in baseball. So RBIs is not an overrated stat in baseball. If you think it's overrated, you're looking way too into the analytics. So if it just shows that you know how to drive in a run. And if you can't drive in runs, then you're not going to have as many RBIs. So I get really annoyed by that where people say RBIs are an overrated stat. No, it's not. It's not at all.
They're not. And you just see it so often that, like the 2 nights before and even last night when I noticed it, I think it was in the Kansas City game. I was just like, come on. I mean, you have this bases loaded. You can't bring in a darn run. What are you doing that you can't do? And just terrible at bats. And so you're going to see more of it because, that's how teams operate, right? They don't care. So it's sad, but that's what the reality right now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one of mine is got to be the Pittsburgh Pirates. I cannot believe they're continuing to do so well. They just took another series against the Dodgers. And I know the Dodgers aren't as strong as they were in previous years, but still, what the Pirates are doing right now and leading the division, they're scoring runs. I mean, really impressive to see what the Pirates are doing. I still don't believe this is real. I think they're starting really hot. I think they'll come back down to earth eventually because I don't think they have the starting pitching to continue this. But right now, they are playing really well, and they deserve the credit for what they're doing. So definitely a shout-out to the Pittsburgh Pirates because I was not expecting this.
I don't think anybody was. I don't even think the fans yet have really grasped what's going on over there. But, a really interesting team to watch. And, they stay competitive. They stay in those games. So it's good to see.
Yes. All right. Well, that is our takeaways from the last 2 days and a little bit of this week. But let's get into the card. Today, we've got a couple games. Like I said earlier, we're going to break down, give you some of our thoughts on. Some of them may be official plays. Some of them may be just leans right now. We still have some time until these games start. So just make sure you understand what we say here. If we tell you it's a pick, we'll tell you. If it's a lean, we'll tell you that too.
Yep.
All right, let's start it off for the first game of the day that we like. This is the Braves and the Mets. This is an official play. I have it locked in right now. Braves at the New York Mets. This, to me, I just cannot pass up. I think this is way too good of a price to be getting with the Braves right now. I saw it opened at minus 135. It got to 145. And when I saw it increase to 145, I jumped on it right away. Well, it's back down to 135. So you can actually get a better price with it right now. But I'll be okay paying the extra $10 for this game. I think the Braves are a great play tonight. They're hitting lefties well. And this is just a total pitching mismatch with Max Fried on the mound going up against David Peterson. If you've watched David Peterson this year, you know how bad he's been. He's got a 7.36 ERA. He's allowing a lot of hard contact. He's going up against weaker teams, and they're still hitting him well. For example, 2 teams who are horrible against left-handed pitchers this season. His most previous start, San Francisco Giants, 7 earned runs. Terrible. 7 runs in that game against a bad Giants lineup. And the game before that, and I know the Dodgers have some better guys, but the Dodgers, the worst team from a batting average standpoint against left-handed pitchers this season, They had 7 hits and 6 earned runs against them. I just don't see this as a good play for the Mets. I know they won last night. That was still a close game for them. The Nationals actually played them really close.
They really did, yeah.
But the more I look into this, I just can't pass it up with Max Fried for how well he's pitching. I know he's eventually going to have a bad game here and there, but I just can't go away from this price. I think this is too good to pass up. The Braves are actually a really good road team as well, which I like. They're 8-2. Actually, I think they're better than that. They are, let me see, on the road. 9-3 on the road. Sorry. Okay. 9-3 on the road this season. On the run line, 10-2 overall. So that means they're pretty much crushing teams when they go on the road. That's always a good sign to see. So I like the Braves here. I know they're coming off a really bad loss yesterday. They were up 4-0 in that game against Miami, and Miami scored 6 runs in the last inning, 5 or 6 runs. So a bad loss for them, but I think this is a quick turnaround for them. They're going up against a bad pitcher, a lineup that is still doing well right now. They're going up against a lefty who they face really well this season. They hit lefties at a strong pace. If you look at their numbers against left-handed hitters, I always like to break that down. 287 average, 362 on base percentage, scoring over 5 runs a game. So this is just one of those games where, if David Peterson comes out and throws a gem, what are you going to do? You can't do anything about it. But I think this is too good of a price. I think the Braves are the better team, and I'm going to be playing the Braves on the money line. I got it at -145, but it looks like you can get a better price on it. So if you're still seeing this, I would jump on the Braves. I think it's a good play tonight. That's one of my favorites. Mr. Hampton, any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like your lean here. First thing I would say is the Mets don't play well at home. They're really struggling at home. They haven't been at home a lot, right? But when you've seen them play, I mean, with the Nationals in this past series, they really are struggling right now against teams. My only concern would be, and it would be interesting to see your thoughts is the batting averages with some of these Mets players against Max Fried. I mean, they have a pretty good sample size. They're pretty, I mean, they're like average to pretty high. Any concern there, or is it just like, hey, Max Fried's pitching pretty damn good right now?
Yeah, no, I did see that. I did see the numbers against Max Fried. And you know what? That's going to happen. You're going to see a lot of players have good numbers, especially when you see a pitcher so much. The Braves and the Mets, they play in the same division. They're going to face each other a lot over the course of the season. So, yeah, it gives me a little bit of concern, but just the way Fried's pitching right now, it's kind of hard to go against him, especially in this matchup. See, if he was facing a pitcher like Max Scherzer or DeGrom, which last year, Max Fried, I was looking at the matchups last year. Fried pitched against one of those guys in just about every game when he faced the Mets. That's tough because, the offense is going to struggle to hit those other pitchers. But tonight, I just think the pitching mismatch is too good to not back the Braves. And that's a big reason why. Yeah, the batting averages, there are some good ones. Specifically, Jeff McNeil, 370 average against him in 27 at-bats. Pete Alonso, pretty solid with 2 home runs against him in 32 at-bats. But there are some players who don't see him well. Key players like Starling Marte has been okay. Brandon Nimmo, 130 average against him. Lindor, 130. So I think there's a good balance of players who do hit him well and who don't. But the way Fried's pitching right now, it's just hard for me to go against him. And when you got David Peterson, who's just throwing meatballs up there, it's too hard for me to pass up. So I do like the Braves tonight in a bounce back after losing their last game, which they should not have lost to the Miami Marlins.
Yeah. This is the Braves are a fun team, and you're like, I do agree with you. Peterson, I keep calling him Patterson for some reason. Peterson, really, you have to kind of look at that as in this matchup as that's the weaker link right there. And so,
yeah,
I like that road average too, like you said. So I think it's a solid lane.
Both teams are. And something else I've been liking to look at early in the season is how teams do in each game of the series, because you can find some really good trends with that. These two teams are actually really good in game one of the series. Atlanta is 7-1 overall in game ones this year. The Mets are 6-2. So yeah, something to look at there. But it seems like both teams can come out and play tonight. I like it. I like it enough to back Max Fried. I don't know if I'm going to get there with it. I'll see. But I did kind of lean the over too. 7.5 kind of seems low to me with two pitchers who the offenses are very familiar with. So I don't know if I'll get there with it, but I would much rather play the over in this game than the under. I will say that 7.5 to me is too low, especially when David Peterson's on the mound. That can go away in one inning with that guy. So
yeah, No, I think that's a very good thing. Kind of take a look at, maybe look in, get a little more in depth because you're right. It is a low over. And I mean, when you look at this and the kind of what the Mets are capable of in terms of giving up runs, and you just saw it with the Nationals, I like that too. So both solid directions there, sir.
Thank you very much. Yep, I got the Atlanta Braves right now. Money line -145. As I've said about 5 times, you can get a better price with it right now. The price has gone down, and if you get it higher, then whatever. I just think the Braves are a good play tonight. It's one of my favorites on the board, and I already have it locked in. So
And
Braves
minus
money
one
line.
35. Not you're not giving too much juice there too. I think that's
Exactly.
what reasonable juice for that type of game.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to the next one. Let's move to the next game. Rays White Sox. Rays have dominated the White Sox to start the season. We all know how bad the White Sox are. There's not much to say about them at all in a good way.
Yeah.
So looking at this game, I did have the Rays yesterday, first 5. I had McClanahan. I got it at even money. I thought that was a really solid play. I'm still surprised the books are setting this at -150. I think that's still too low for how good the Rays are, and especially last week the Rays put up how many runs against? I know these exact same pitchers pitched against each other. Yeah, Giolito gave up 5 hits, 4 earned runs, and 2 home runs in that game. 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. So he did okay. He didn't do awful, but I just keep going back to the White Sox lineup, man. They're awful.
Oh,
they're so bad.
they
put up 5 last night, but they gave up 14, so it didn't really matter. But I cannot trust this White Sox lineup. You got to give me like 5 or 6 consistent games of that offense before I have any kind of business backing them again. So I'm actually looking at this game. I haven't decided which way I want to play it. I actually like the Rays on the run line or first 5. I'm leaning more toward the run line because of how bad the White Sox lineup is, and because of how the Rays get to bat all 9 innings. I always like to. I feel way more comfortable backing a run line with a road team because they're guaranteed to bat that 9th inning. I don't like doing it as much for a home team. But if you look at the Rays this season on the run line, they're just hitting at an incredible level too. Yeah. I'll tell you a little bit of the numbers there.
Please do.
Yeah, on the Rays. So this season on the run line, going to get that pulled up here. They are 18-8 on the run line.
That's pretty good.
7-3 on the road, and that's good for a 21-5 overall record. So they're doing it in a lot of good ways. And if you look at their offensive numbers, they're just crushing it. Last night, after getting shut out twice by the Astros, they took their frustrations out on Dylan Cease, one of the better starting pitchers in all of baseball. And I think Lucas Giolito is a lot, softer of a pitcher than he is. Dylan Cease is a lot nastier stuff. So I do lean hard to the Rays on the run line or first 5. I feel like I'll probably get to the run line more than first 5 just because I don't want something stupid to happen in first 5 innings. But I do feel comfortable enough with Zach Eflin to continue shutting down a terrible White Sox lineup. And like I said, the numbers don't really lie with how the Rays are scoring. And their numbers are just incredible on the run line. So I like the Rays today. They're hitting righties at a really good level. I don't really need to go into all that. You guys know that. They're scoring over 6 runs a game against right-handed pitching. So I like the Rays. This is a lean for me right now. I'm looking into it a little bit more, but Rays either -1.5 full game or first 5 -1.5. Any thoughts on that one, Mr. Hampton?
Yeah, no, I agree with you too. I mean, first and foremost, don't trust the White Sox at all until you get like some reasonable long-term sample size from them, because it's a trashy lineup. I just don't understand why they're this bad. I also think too, there's a lot of advantages when you've already seen somebody like Lucas Giolito before. You're probably going to hit him a lot harder the next time, even though it's in a different ballpark and everything. So I see some advantages there in terms of being able to score runs. And that's why I like your run line lean. I actually have taken a run line on this. But it's just a small, like -2.5 at +195. So again, I was just thinking, there was just something, I saw some value there, and so I took it. But I like this lane here because you just can't trust the pitching, and you just can't trust the hitting from the White Sox right now. And the reverse team, the Tampa Bay Rays, they play it all very well. So I really do like that lane tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that you also have the run line there. That sounds good. I think I think I am leaning more toward that than first five, just because the Rays and look at the bull. I mean, I've talked about this a lot too on my spaces and even on this YouTube. Is this White Sox bullpen is just bad. So even if Giolito does do well, the bullpen is still there to help with the run line or whatever way you want to play this. Their bullpen ERA this season is where's it at 6.6 compared to Tampa Bay at 2.64. That's a big difference. That's something I just can't pass that up. I mean, I know baseball is weird. Things can happen. White Sox might come out tonight and play well, but to me, this is just too good to pass up. I like the Rays again. I think they keep rolling. I think the White Sox keep slumping. I mean, they're just not playing well right now. And if you look at the two teams, I wish I could. I don't know if I can share my screen. Let me see if I can do that. I think you can. Let me see if I can really quick because I want to show you guys, whoever's watching on here. Yeah, look at this. Can you see?
Oh, wow, damn. This is awesome. Let's go.
Number one in all categories here. Look at the numbers with the quick cap, as it says. Number one, and look where the White Sox are in offense. 22, 24, 27. I mean,
they're just bad.
Just too good to pass up. So
look at their defensive ranks. I mean, where did the Rays make this team? How did this happen?
Just a tale of two different teams. So
yeah.
I like this today. I think this is a good spot for us to get the Rays. So I'll be playing the Rays. 1.5. Not locked in yet, but I know I talked about it at the beginning. But the more I look at it, the more I think about it. It's like I can't pass it up. I got to go with the Rays. So
right, and like you said, I would rather risk taking the run line with the Rays than hoping that the Chicago White Sox keep it close, because it's that team you just can't really trust. So I like this lean.
Yep. So Rays is another strong lean. Probably will make the card. Just wanted to get some information out about that. Let's move on to the next game, Phillies and Astros. This is another lean for me right now. I want to see if the price drops any, because I'm seeing that Yordan Alvarez might be missing some time. I see that he has like a neck issue. I don't know what's going on, if he's going to go in the IL, if he's going to do this or that. But honestly, I don't know if that even impacts my decision in this game, because the Astros are still the much better team here to me. Mm-hmm. They have the better starting pitcher, and another team who struggles against lefties is the Philadelphia Phillies. I love looking at these splits, these trends where teams struggle against a certain side of the pitcher, lefty or righty or whatever. The Astros can hit anybody. You saw what they did against Tampa Bay. They did just fine against pretty solid pitching. On the other side, though, you've got the Philadelphia Phillies, who have won 5 of their last 6. That one loss came to Seattle. And who pitched that game? Mr. Hampton, do you remember?
Shit, I can't remember, dude.
Left-handed pitcher for Seattle.
Marco Gonzalez.
And who won the game?
I mean, probably the Astros on that one.
Well, no, it was Seattle and Philly.
Phillies, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. Philly lost the game. Marco Gonzalez shut them down. Another left-handed pitcher who shut down the Phillies. He went for 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts.
I'm sorry. I'm was lost there for a second, but now I remember that game, because that's when they took out Logan Gilbert and put this guy. Still got to win, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
So, like I said, until these teams can figure out how to hit certain sides of the plate, pitchers, whatever, I cannot trust them. And Philadelphia has a .318 on base percentage here, 3 runs a game against lefties compared to 5 runs a game against righties. And this is not some Joe Blow going for the Astros. This is Framber Valdez, one of the, I'd say, top 10, 15 pitchers in baseball. He's good. I like the Astros. Now, they're priced at 150. It was at 145, 140 earlier. It's gone up. You probably asked, why would I not play the run line if I'm doing it with Tampa? Well, I like doing run lines more with road teams than home teams. I don't like when a team has the chance of winning this game and not batting in the 9th inning. So I do look at those things, but I might lay the juice here with the Houston. I think there's a good enough number here that I can get Houston at with this price. I think Aaron Nola, he's been solid, but he's also had some kind of weird games this season. He's got a 5.40 ERA, and he's getting hit pretty hard. He's given up 29 hits in 28 innings, 17 earned runs. Not a lot to like about that. I know he's coming off a start against Colorado where he was okay. He gave up 3 earned runs in that game. Just a little inconsistent for me to start the season as Aaron Nola. So I do like Houston tonight. It's a lean right now. I'll see if I get there with it, but I don't mind paying a little bit of more juice on the Astros here if I have to. 150, probably not crazy if it gets up to 160, 165, but 150 I feel pretty comfortable laying if I'm going to get the Astros at that price. Any thoughts on Astros and Phillies here?
I do like this lane, and it's one of the things I think I agree with you on is that Aaron Nola has been struggling this year. He isn't as good as he was last year. There's just something there that isn't happening. So I do like that. And the Astros are coming home. I actually took the over on this because the over right now is sitting at 7.5 and with odds of -100. And I thought that was pretty good value here because number one, Aaron Nola's been giving up some runs, been pretty leaky. Like you said, his hard hit rate is up there. And then I also think that, the Phillies will probably put up a couple runs here or there too. So as you kind of get into the later innings in the back of both of those bullpens, I see some runs happening. So that's where I was going here. I like this lane. It's kind of like it's a rematch of the World Series, right? So I think there's going to be some intensity to this game as well. So I like it.
Yeah, it should be a good one. I think just looking at Aaron Nola, yeah, he's got some good numbers, with his advanced metrics, but some bad ones as well. His fastball velocity seems to be down a little bit.
Ooh.
Batting average against is not too great. K percentage is down, whiff percentage, all that kind of stuff. So those are some things. And I said this earlier in my spaces. Sometimes pitchers who go longer in a season than usual, like last year the Phillies went to the World Series. I know it's not for every single pitcher. But sometimes pitchers just, they have that long-term effect where it hurts and it takes a while to get built back up.
Yeah.
You're not used to playing all the time. Yeah. You have dead arm. Dead arm happens.
Yep.
So just something I've been a little concerned about with Aaron Nola, but we'll see. I'll see if I get there with the Astros. But to me, it's Astros or nothing. I don't feel comfortable backing the Phillies against lefty here. And the bullpen. I know the bullpen's been good the last two games against Seattle. Seattle's offense is sluggish. I'm not too high on Seattle's offense right now. And so this is a much different lineup they're going to be getting in Houston. So lean to Houston, but not sure if I'll get there 100% yet. We'll see.
Yeah, I do like the lean though. I mean, the Astros have been playing well, right? I mean, they just got back from playing Atlanta. They played, and then they played the Rays really well. So I think they're coming home with more momentum than probably what you've seen from the Phillies. So I like that. So I see the direction you're going, and I say, hey, it's not a bad direction at all.
Perfect.
Badly.
Well, we'll see if I get there. And if I do, I will, of course, post it on my page as always. Let's see. Let's go to another game here. This is another game. I think I'm going to lock this in. I think I feel pretty good about this. This will be more of like a half unit play for me, but I like the Angels here. I like the Angels. I know this is a matchup where two pitchers are kind of going in opposite directions, and Tyler Anderson has not been good. If you look at his numbers, they are not good. He's been getting rocked, to say the least, pretty bad. On the other side, Wade Miley is doing really well. I don't know if I can trust Wade Miley. I mean, I know he's been good this season, but I still look back at other years, and I never was a big fan of Wade Miley, and I think he's due for some regression. I think he's been a little too good to continue this. Last start, he was up against Boston. He did well, 2 runs. Game before that, San Diego, no runs. Arizona, 3 runs. So, and he does get a tougher lineup tonight. That the Angels are a team who do see lefties really well. If you look at what they've done against left-handed pitching this season, I see a lot of the money is flowing on Milwaukee right now. But anyway, going back and looking at the lefties, the numbers they have against lefties this season, they're hitting lefties at a 278 average, 357 on base, and 5.77 runs per 9.
Ooh.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
On the other side, we get Tyler Anderson, who's a lefty, and the Brewers struggle against left-handed pitching. I keep preaching it. 205 average, 269 on base, 2.83 runs per 9. They average 5 runs a game against a righty. So another game where I think maybe Tyler Anderson has a good game for once. Maybe I'm banking on him to have a good game, and it is a little risky, but he was good last year with the Dodgers. If we can get him back somewhat close to that, I like our chances here. We're getting some plus money too. We get plus money with the Angels. I just don't. I don't think Wade Miley keeps it up, and I don't think Tyler Anderson keeps doing this bad. So I'm going to take a shot with the Angels here. This is probably going to be a half a unit for me. But I like the Angels to come out today and win. I like them on the upset as a little dog pick. So Hampton, any thoughts on Angels Brewers here?
So Angels money line is where you're leaning here. I kind of like that. I mean, I'm kind of worried because I took Wade Miley in my fantasy league today because I needed a pitcher, and he's been pretty good. I kind of feel like this game is going to be a low score because I do kind of see that Tyler Anderson aspect coming into play here. Like he needs to turn it around, and I like where I didn't look into much of the metrics for this game, but I like how the Angels offense plays. I mean, they really do have a very solid offense that's just there. I mean, you have Mike, you have Trout, you have Otani, Renfro, and then who's this? Renheen folks I like sometimes too, but they just have, and Ward, they just have the pieces there to where they can really grind out and put up some runs. So I like it. I think it's going to be a close game tonight. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but yeah. And then they have Drury too. My gosh, and he's heating up as well. So
yeah,
I like this. It's compared to both offenses. I'm going to like that LA offense more than that Milwaukee side.
And I think the books. I don't know exactly how they do it. I don't know. I'm not an expert here with how they set lines, but I imagine they're probably setting this line an advantage for the Brewers to be the favorite because Wade Miley's just been the better pitcher compared to what Tyler Anderson's been terrible. I mean, there's no go look at his numbers against all these teams. He's getting rocked. So I hope tonight is a night he changes it. Hopefully he has a bounce back spot here. I think it's a good opportunity for him to do so. And I think Wade Miley is definitely due for some regression. And if you look at some numbers, not a huge sample size here, but Trout has faced Wade Miley. He's actually been pretty bad against him in his career. But you see a couple other guys like Anthony Rendon, who is staying healthy so far this season, batting .583 and 12 at-bats against him. Let's see, who else bats against him pretty well? Urshela, well, that's only 2 at-bats, but he does have a home run against him. And then Rengifo does have a home run against him too. But yeah, we get Taylor Ward, who's a nice little leadoff guy for the Angels. You've got Hunter Renfroe, like you said. Yeah, I like this Angels lineup. I think they can come out tonight and do pretty well against the Brewers. So I will be playing the Angels. I like that we're getting some plus money with them. Angels will be on the card for me tonight.
I like this. I really do like it. And it's a little bit risk, but like you said, you're also getting some plus money there and some value. And I think that the Angels can come out there and give them a good game. I like this.
Also, a quick thing I wanted to add in, if I can find it here. Where was I just going to go with that? Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just looking at, they really, not a lot of people have faced Anderson too. So I when I'm looking at some of those matchups too, when you don't see, when you're seeing a pitcher for the first time, that to me is a good sign too. Right.
Yeah. Not a lot of batters in this lineup have faced Tyler Anderson before. I already told you about the struggles against left-handed pitching with this Brewers lineup. Here's what I wanted to point out though. I know this was a team. They're playing a minor league team. The Angels were this past 4 games, but you still like to see that their offense showed up in that series and scored runs. I mean, if you go look back at the games they played against the Athletics, they were putting up. I'll give you some of the numbers they were putting up in terms of scoring. They put up 8 yesterday, 11, 5, 10, 4, 8. I mean, they're putting up runs, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, I guess, is Tyler Anderson just showing up tonight and hopefully helping the cause. But yeah, I like the Angels getting some plus money here. I like it.
Mm-hmm. I do. I think it's a solid. You said you have to be a little bit concerned about Tyler Anderson, right? If you're taking this, but I also say I do. I'm hoping it doesn't happen tonight because I have him in fantasy. But at some point, Wade Miley has to have a bad game, right? You can't be 3-1 and then 196 average with that bum, right? It happens. There has to be some regression. So
hopefully tonight we start, but hopefully he can help your fantasy team enough.
We'll see.
All right, let's move to the last game that we have here that you wanted to talk about, Mr. Hampton. Yankees Rangers. What do you got? What do you have for us in this game?
So again, I'm just looking at this, and because I was not, I think I told you hey, I haven't had a whole bunch of time to look at this stuff today, but it was a lean that I was kind of looking at. Some leans in this game. We have Schmidt versus DeGrom here, and it's at home for the Rangers against the Yankees. And there's two lanes that I was taking a look at here. The first one is the over at 7. And I think, again, that's a pretty low over. And I know that DeGrom's pitching and might be holding that Yankees offense, which is really just a disgusting offense, kind of back. But I do think the Yankees might be able to score here a little bit. But then I look at the other side, which is the Rangers. And I think typically at home, they've been able to put up some runs here. And so I see, hey, this is one of those things. All it takes is just a couple innings of runs being put up, and you get that over of 7, and then you're good. It's a very comfortable game. So that's one of the first things I was looking at. And just off of how this Yankees offense is built and the fact that they really are, they're just, there's nothing exciting about it, right? There's nothing beautiful or, like that stands out. I think that the Rangers can actually pull ahead and get up on the run line on this too. And I think saw the run line was at -100. So I think they could win by a couple runs here. And that's a pretty good value for that price as well. So those were the two lanes that I was looking at. Not 100% taking them yet, but I was like, hey, I think I like what I'm seeing here from that side. Interested to hear what your thoughts are for sure.
So you're liking Texas, okay?
Yeah, Texas run line and the over of 7.
I like it. I mean, I don't have this on my card right now. I don't know if I'll get there with it, but yeah, Texas has lost 4 straight now, I believe it is, and a lot of those losses were games they should not have lost to the Reds. Just bad bullpen. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for an offense to continue what they've been doing this season, and that's the Rangers, they've been putting up runs. Even those losses against Cincinnati, they were putting up runs. They put up 6 twice and still lost. It was the damn bullpen. But tonight, I think it's a great opportunity for them. They faced Garrett Cole last night. Tough matchup, obviously. But now they get Clark Schmidt, who is not that good. We all know how bad he can be. I think this is a good spot. I think Texas has a good spot here. DeGrom will be going, and Aaron Judge will not be in the lineup. He's going to miss a few days due to an injury. I think. I don't know if you mentioned that, but
I did not. No, but that's a good call. I totally forgot about that.
But yeah, Texas at home run line. If you like to play that, I think that's a good, decent play to make because, yeah, I do not like this Yankees lineup. I backed them the other day. It was against Maeda, but tonight it's going to be against DeGrom. Obviously, a much different pitcher. I think that's a good lean for you, Mr. Hampton. I like it. Rangers on the run line, or if you like the over, even play the over.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything too crazy that like stands out. Like, hey, any two major concerns, but I mean, maybe the Yankees do something, put some stuff up. But I mean, if the Yankees keep it close, then they're scoring runs, in my opinion. So then you're looking at that over.
All right. Yep. Good stuff. I like it. I definitely would support that if you end up playing the Rangers here on the run line at home against the Yankees.
All right.
Let's see if there's anything else. I don't think I have anything else besides the money line underdog parlay. Might be bringing that back tonight.
Oh, well, let's hear this one.
So I'm not 100% yet. This is just I'm just playing around with some things. But the favorite that I have right now is, I'll just go through the list here. So one of them, the Nationals. I don't love it, but I mean, Rich Hill getting that kind of price, I still don't believe it. I don't think Rich Hill should be getting that price. And I know Pittsburgh's on fire right now, but I do like Washington as part of the underdog parlay because if you look, I mean, they hit lefties really well. That's another thing. I like that the numbers I see with them against lefties. The risk is Chad Kuhl's pitching, and Chad Kuhl is not a good pitcher, but when you play these money line underdog parlays, you got to take some risk, and that's something I'm willing to take tonight. So possibly the Nationals as one leg. The second team, who I feel probably the most comfortable with because it is an official play, is the Angels. I like them part of that parlay. They're getting plus 113, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They're my second team, and then my third team right now is, I think I have, Tigers. Detroit Tigers is my third leg.
Interesting. Tigers, versus the Orioles with Grayson Rodriguez. Okay, interesting. Yep. Well, I can see that.
These two teams faced off last week. If we remember, I think it was on Sunday. These teams played with the same pitchers, same starting pitchers. Eduardo Rodriguez was fabulous. It was unfortunate that his offense didn't show up for him. But look at his last 3 starts. This is why I like the Tigers tonight as even maybe a little sleeper. Look at this. Baltimore last week, he went 7 innings, 1 hit, no walks, 6 strikeouts.
Wow.
Okay. Game before that,
Cleveland. Wow.
Game before Cleveland, he went 8 innings, 4 hits, no walks, 10 strikeouts. And then that game before that, where this is where his nice streak started, 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. So really good numbers. That was against Toronto. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they won that game. Let me double check here to see. Nope, the Blue Jays won in extra innings. So still gave his team a chance to win. So I like it. I think that's obviously, I mean, that would be another game tonight. I'm not sure if I'll get there with it, like in a straight bet, but if you like the Orioles tonight, I would be a little cautious because Eduardo Rodriguez is pitching really well right now. And I know Baltimore has obviously the better lineup here, but the Tigers, they can show up every once in a while. And when you have if Eduardo Rodriguez is pitching like this, that's hard to go against. So that's why I think the line is where it's at right now. I mean, it's not even they're not a high favorite at all, Baltimore.
No, I like it. I mean, number one with the Nationals. The Nationals have been playing good ball. They're not a terrible team over the last few games.
Yeah,
I do like it with the Tigers Orioles because you're right. The Tigers every now and then they just throw out a good game. My only concern is that both of these pitchers have been seen before pretty recently, but does that mean anything? I'd probably give the advantage to the Tigers, getting to see this Grayson Rodriguez again, young pitcher, hasn't been not lights out yet, but he does decent. So I do like it though. You have to risk. You have to put some risk out there, and those are some close games that could be easily won by those underdogs. So
yes.
I like it.
So we'll see. I'm leaning toward those 3 teams right now, though.
Yeah.
So we'll see if I get there with it. But yeah, Washington, Detroit, and
the Angels.
Yes,
yep.
Angels. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
But
yeah, it's Friday night. Buckle up. Get sweaty with an underdog parlay and get yourself into the weekend.
Yes, sir. That's the plan. But yeah, besides that, I think I'm good with what I like here tonight. I think I went over all my lanes that I needed to. Besides that, though, I think we're good. Do you have any other last thoughts before we close out here on Spaces on YouTube?
No, I agree with you. Those were some of the games that really stood out to me. Everything else, nothing too flashy out there tonight. It'd be the only other game that I might look at a little bit more at is the Mariners versus Blue Jays. I mean, Luis Castillo's playing, pitching pretty good. But other than that, nothing too crazy out there. So just another one of those Friday nights, get into the weekend and have some more fun.
Fridays can be weird. Really, any day can be weird in baseball. You never really know what's going to happen. You try to get your picks the right way, but Fridays can be freaky, as they like to say, Freaky Friday. Yeah. So if you want to be cautious tonight, I totally understand. It's always good to see how the first game of these series go too, because some teams just don't show up first game and then they come back the next game and bounce back. So just look, find the right spots that you like tonight. Take a good approach. We got plenty of games tomorrow and Sunday, and we're not even to May yet. I know we're almost to May for baseball, but 1 month is still we're almost there for the last month of the first start of baseball. We got plenty of baseball to go, so stay patient. So lots of baseball.
I mean, it feels like we've been betting on baseball for a whole year already, but it's only been a month. So
I know.
Yeah, but a lot of games left. But it's a lot of fun though too.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, I think we're good though. We will close it out. Good luck to everybody tonight. If you watched our live, thank you for coming on and watching. If you replay the live for YouTube, feel free to ask any questions. My Twitter is always open. If you have any questions, hit my DM on Deep Pockets. You can find me on Twitter. I'm sure if you click on this link, you know where my page is on Twitter. So feel free to ask any questions. Spaces today will be at 5:00 Central, where I'll break down these games again. Probably be more official by that time because that'll be like an hour till game starts. So Spaces 2 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Central on Twitter. Feel free to join in. I will be breaking down my games, and if anybody else who is a capper, I allow to come on there and break down games too. But thanks for coming on, Mr. Hampton. Thank you for being here today.
It's always a pleasure. Good luck, and hey, let's make some money and get on those spaces. There's a lot of great cappers on there. I'll tell you that. It's a lot
for
of
sure.
Too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Let's have a great night. Let's make some money and get those deep pockets.
Sound good. Let's
All
go.
right. Have a good rest of your day. Later.